This is live from the Masai Mara on Nat Geo Wild's Big Cat Week, and you won't believe what just happened 5 minutes before we started this live safari. The fat cheetahs was being chased around by a massive buffalo bull. He's now wandering off to have a drink, and our cheetahs returning back to their comfortable spot. My name is Jamie, and I'm going to send you halfway across the African continent to the host of today's live safari, James, who's going to explain some more.
Good afternoon and welcome to this very special Big Cat Week rehearsal edition of Safari Live. My name is James Hendry, and I'm standing here under the azure vault of Africa. 34 degrees Celsius it is out here, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, very hot indeed. There are beautiful clouds dotted across the sky, and it is the most perfect African afternoon. Now, for the next 2 hours, we are going to be exploring the Sabi sands in South Africa and the Masai Mara in Kenya for 3 of the world's great big cat species. Over there, not a cat, but Crocky the crocodile. He thinks that this whole malarkey is rather laughable. That is why he is smiling like he is. Remember, everything is entirely interactive. We'd love to hear from you. You can use the hashtag Safari Live to talk to us on Twitter. And you can ask us any questions or send us any comments you'd like. And I'd quite like to know from you who your favorite big is in the world of the species. Now, the last thing I have to tell you, of course, is that you've already met the magnificent... Well, no, you were with Jamie. I don't know what she's got, actually. We were going to start with the Styx Pride with Noel. We'll probably go to them at some stage. And, in fact, that's exactly where we're going to go. Let's head across now and meet the Styx Pride.
Here in the Sabi sands in South Africa, and it is warm today, so they're lazy in the shade, as lions do. I am Noelle van Moden. It is very nice to meet you all, or to see you again, depending on who's watching today. And on camera, I have Senzo. Hello, Senzo. There's the 3 fingers. All right. Now, this Styx Pride is not all of the adult females. It's just one of the adult females, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the juveniles. I'm not quite sure where the rest of the pride is at the moment, but I'm assuming they're probably doing exactly what these lions are doing, which is sleeping for the 16 to 20 hours a day that they sleep. Now, while I'm busy waiting for some movement, let's head on over to Steph, who has something large and on foot.
Good afternoon and welcome to the bushwalk part of this wonderful safari. My name is Stefan Winterboer, and we are on foot with Africa's largest mammal, not largest male, it's a female elephant. We're on foot with Africa's largest land mammal. This is 4,000 to 6,000 pounds worth of animal, and it's a female elephant, and in my opinion, the most dangerous animal in the bush. Now, don't forget, we are live and on foot right now with this elephant. We're coming to you from the Kruger National Park, and very similar to the rest of my colleagues, you can ask us questions. We are interactive. Can you believe it? Standing out here in the middle of nowhere. You can use the hashtag Safari Live, and we'll try and get through as many questions as we can while we're with these elephants. We're in an elevated position. As she gets a bit closer, I am going to drop my voice because the wind is blowing from us diagonally past her, and what we don't want to do is give away our position. Elephant females will do one of 2 things. They'll either corral their babies away from us, or you might find them defending their babies, and that's a position we don't want to be in. A 10 out of 10 walk for me, a perfect walk for me, would be us being able to view these animals closely, but without them even knowing we're here. And that's going to be the objective of what I try and do over the next couple of minutes. Right, now from Africa's largest dangerous game to a big cat, we're going over to Tristan.
Well,
It is the beauty of the spots and golden pattern that completes our Big Cat trifecta for this Big Cat Week live special is the leopard. My name is Tristan, and we can see that this leopard is sitting in the shade at the moment and is taking it very easy. It is a swelteringly hot day, and he's had probably a long night last night walking around and trying to have a territorial patrol, and he's found himself some beautiful shade in the lush green grass, and he's going to have a nice little bit of a rest until that sun gets a little lower, in which case he'll be up and then on the prowl. But it is so beautiful when we have these summer rains and the grass gets nice and green, to see that contrast of that coat against that green grass. There is few things in this world more spectacular and more beautiful than a leopard for me. It is my absolute favorite animal. I love spending every single waking minute that I can with leopards, and so to be out here this afternoon is absolutely perfect. Now, he is our dominant male leopard. He is the male that moves around in this area, constantly scent marking, and is the father to our tiny little cub that we hopefully might be able to see at some stage during the next little bit as we go through and look around for Tundi. So Tundi is a female leopard that this male has mated with, and he is the father. So we think, we don't know for 100% sure, but we think he is the father of this new little leopard cub in the area, and that's why he was on a patrol last night. He was scent marking. He was making sure that he's protecting his boundaries, because recently we've had some newcomers into the area. We've had a few young upstart males that have started to push into this section, and Tingana, who is this male leopard, is going to have to try and keep all the others at bay if he's to ensure the safety of the next generation of his offspring. So at the moment it's time to rest and to get his strength up before he can then start getting up a little bit later and moving around and continuing that scent marking, or maybe even go on the hunt. Now, from one spotted cat that is absolutely beautiful in the golden grass, all the way northwards to the Masai Mara in the beautiful grassy plains, another spotted cat.
Malika is up and moving, so you've come all the way from a leopard in South Africa to see a cheetah in the Masai Mara, the land of these spectacular thin and limber hunters. Now, this particular cheetah's name is Malika. She is 10 years old, and she has 2 teenage boys with her. Now, she's done such an amazing job to raise these 2, and now comes the time where she needs to find them some dinner. So there she goes. She spotted something in the distance. Here comes one of her young males behind her. Remember, all of this is unfolding live, and they are really, really hungry. Look at those empty bellies. You can see the mantle or the patch of fur behind his neck that tells us how young he truly is. And these boys are hungry, and they're keeping their mother so busy. One of the things that we've learned from watching Malika is that she's at the stage now where she's teaching her boys to hunt. But quick, there's all kinds of things happening with Cheetah. Off you go to Brent and his.
Welcome, welcome. We are witnessing some of the most incredible cheetah interaction I've ever seen in my life. 100% live from the Masai Mara. This is 4 members of a male coalition. Listen to those sounds. Cornering another lone male, but we've been with them for 4 days. It looks like he might be trying to join the coalition. Now, there have been bouts of fisticuffs, snarling, growling, chirping, all sorts of strange noises. And it seems like Big Cat Week is in full swing here in the Masai Mara and in South Africa. Hi, my name is Brent Leo Smith, and this is 100% Live. We're witnessing incredible behavior. It's something that I've never seen before. So let's just keep on it now. Paul has asked a question about what has happened with the musketeers and Muji, who is the lone male. We're not quite sure, and as you can probably hear, we're starting to get a little bit damp, which is quite common at this time of the year in the Mara. It's just a little bit of rain falling on us. But it's been going on now for nearly 3 full days that we've had this interaction going on. Now, what's going to happen is they're either going to get very hungry, or they're going to accept them. But sorry guys, I need to drop down some waterproofing so we don't get all our cameras and stuff wet. And we'll be right back. I'm just going to drop down one side quickly. Okay, so while we prep ourselves for the wet Mara weather, let's go across to Noel and some other big cats.
Thanks, Brent. Yes, I'm still with my big cats, and they are still sleeping away in the shade, conserving their energy. Lions do not have sweat glands like we as humans do, and so they will overheat with their furry skin if they are to move around too much in the heat of the day, which is why they sleep so much. Our temperatures tend to be quite warm in general. There are what's known as crepuscular, so most active at dusk or dawn, and then throughout any other cooler parts of the day. So if this was winter, they would be probably getting ready to move about now, but this being our summertime, it's way too hot for them. Now, many of you that watch us always are questioning how is the Styx pride doing with all of their mange. And you can see on this female on her elbow, there's the mange. A mange is a skin disease. It's actually created by a mite, which is similar to a spider. It's a parasitic mite. And what this particular type of mite does is it burrows into the skin and then causes itching and inflammation, which causes scratching, which causes an infection, and then bacteria comes in. This particular type of mite is also a mite that we as humans can get. It produces scabies with us. So this is a sarcoptic mite. Now, it's interesting, a lot of people wanted to know the last time we saw the Styx, but will this kill them off? Is this dangerous? As long as the population, so as long as these lions, for instance, their health was low, which got them the scabies, and then they've recovered their health, and that was because we had a drought going on, so they'll be fine. But if you had a very small population and their health didn't increase, it would definitely lead to not extermination, but it would lead to lower population numbers. Quite an interesting few papers that are out there, and I will share one of those papers on my Instagram account later for any of you that are interested in wildlife pathology. I definitely am. Something that's interesting about this type of scabies, it was transmitted from us to domesticated animals and then on to wildlife. Now, while we're busy waiting to see if these lions wake up, let's head on over to James.
What we have there is a very special bird known as a pied kingfisher. There it sits, it's on its tree there, and the very special thing that this kingfisher does is hover above the water, waiting for the shadow of a little fish, maybe a baby catfish, for example, during Big Cat Week, and it will dive down into the water, grab the hapless catfish, and then take it up to a branch, whereupon it will slam it against the wood until it is dead and crushed, and all the bones are little smithereens within its body, and then it will swallow it and enjoy a very pleasant fish meal. Yum. Doesn't that sound delicious? I think so. Now, thank you very much for answering my question. Lily, you say you wanted to see cheetah. Wendy, you said Scarface the male lion. And then who said flat cat? Somebody said flat cat. It's a very strange kind of a cat to want to see. That was Wendy who said flat cat. Wendy, I'm pretty sure on a hot day like this that flat cats are going to be in the offing. So down here in South Africa, now maybe not up in the Mara. So Wendy, you've seen your favourite already with Noel. I'm surprised that flat cats are your favourite kinds of cats. I think hunting cats are my favourite kinds of cats. Right, then over there, we've got something that cats quite like to eat. Baby hippopotami. They will very seldom eat large hippopotami. Take an enormous pride of lions to kill a huge hippopotamus. Maybe a pride the size of the Styx may get lucky and wipe out something the size of a big hippopotamus, but it's unusual. Okay, we're going to sit here. I'm going to try and get Ronald the Rover close to the hippopotamus. We'll see what we can pick up there. While we do that, Stefan Winterboer, on this very hot day in South Africa, is having a drink with some elephants.
We're having a drink with an elephant, that's very right. We've snuck up onto a better wind position and just have a look. That female with her calf has come down now. They're very nervous around water. And so I hope that in this bowl where our wind is swirling, that they don't pick up our scent. Perhaps thirst will be able to override their natural cautiousness. 3 elephant. The wind is changing a lot inside this bowl. Let's see what it does. If they smell us, they could do one of 2 things. Run at us or run away. And I'm hoping that they take a path before they run away. This is a very, very privileged position that we're in. A couple of yards away from these elephant. On foot. In the middle of the Kruger National Park. During this Big Cat Week extravaganza. It's fantastic. Now I'm whispering for those of you who have just joined us because elephants kill many people every year, both in Africa and in India. And they do it because they're big and they're dangerous and they're very protective of their young. She just had a few mouthfuls, sprayed water behind her ears. That's to cool her body down. Those ears of theirs are like big radiators. Now while I'm here, you can ask me questions. Don't forget, we're interactive. Use that hashtag #SafariLive. Now Tony, you say it seems a lot more dangerous to be hiding. Tony, basically, if we weren't hiding and we announced ourselves, they'd just run away, I think. Either that or be forced to make a decision where that female wants to protect her babies, and I don't want to put her into that position. I'd prefer that they just, I think they can smell us. I'd prefer that they just carry on with their day. I think the swirling wind in this bowl has alerted them. The wind has just dropped now. I think what I'm going to try and do is get into a slightly better wind position and make them a bit more comfortable. While I do that, we're going to send you over to Scott Dyson.
Hello everyone. Let's hope that Steph doesn't get detected by that herd of elephants. My name is Scott Dyson. I'm teamed up with Herbie, an expert tracker, and he's actually directed us to a spot where he tracked some lions about a year ago to a buffalo kill. So why don't we go and have a look at the crime scene? Good prospects for this afternoon.
Now, unfortunately, being live out in the African bush means sometimes we get some technical difficulties, but the timing is absolutely perfect because our male leopard has just popped his head up. He's starting to yawn, and that might indicate that he might be moving. And I think he might move because he's in a little bit of sun, so he might just get up and move a little bit. You're going to see that he's limping a little bit. Unfortunately, he seems as though he's got a sore front left leg. Now, I'm not sure what's caused it. There doesn't seem to be any sign of injury on that left leg, so it could be something to do with hunting. Maybe when he was chasing an animal down, he ended up unfortunately putting his foot into a little hole that overextended, or maybe he fell out of a tree in an awkward way or jumped out of a tree in an awkward way. But either way, he's got a bit of a sore foot. Now, that looked really bad when he took that step. It almost looked like he took a step and just collapsed down, but it's actually not the case. At the end of the day, this male leopard is just stiff and sore from sleeping most of the day. We actually saw him this morning in a very similar place to where we are now. He hasn't really moved, and so the lactic acid and the swelling has built up a little bit. Once he starts to move a bit and starts to walk, it will get much easier. And when we saw him this morning and he was walking with a lot more ease than what we saw there. He definitely is a lot stiffer this afternoon than what he was this morning. That kind of injury, though, shouldn't be too much of a problem, and you'll have a situation where he'll probably be able to walk it out. Now, Melinda, you wondering, are the animals here used to people? Well, they are what we call habituated, in that these animals have learned that the vehicles with us on them are no longer a threat in any single way whatsoever. They've seen us from when they are small little cubs, and we try and respect their space, as well as the fact that we don't try and take any food or hurt them. And so from there, they've able to work out that we are not in any way dangerous to them. We're also not food, because they're not taught to hunt us by their moms, and so therefore they are comfortable comfortable with us being around. We're almost like a tree in a way that moves around. They know that there's a bit of noise that comes from us, but they're so used to us seeing them that they've become habituated to the vehicles. Now, while we're sitting here watching our leopard do its best to crawl into the depths of the grass and hide itself away, I believe we have an eye in the sky that has spotted something very interesting.
We have indeed got an eye in the sky. The greatest French Gabonese Air Force pilot of all, Sébastien Rombier, has just got us a picture there of some goose eggs in the top of a red-billed buffalo weaver's nest. He's now flying over the great expanse of the Chitwa waterhole here, stuffed full of hippopotamus and crocodile in the water, and on its banks a myriad species of birds and other aquatic life. It's really a very splendid place to be sitting indeed. Now, we're hoping, of course, that something larger is going to come down during this Big Cat Week rehearsal special. Perhaps some elephants, perhaps Hosanna the male leopard. We saw him around here earlier this morning, and we're hoping that he's going to emerge from the shadows and decide that it is in fact too hot for him not to come and slake his thirst, either here or in what we like to call Hosanna's haunt, a little pleasant spot around the back of the dam wall there. Anyway, so we'll head around that way. Now, what I think we should do again is just look at that quickly. There's a little baby hippo behind, trying to climb onto its mum's back. She's very defensive about him. Let's see if we can spot him just before we go to our short break. There he is. Oh, well, that's gorgeous. All right, we're going to go away for a short break. Please don't go anywhere. Hosanna the leopard could emerge at any second. This is Safari Live. Right, are we still live? I think we're still live, Fergus. Okay, let's go to Taylor up in the Masai Mara. Big Cat Week rehearsal, 1,600 kilometers away, and it's raining there, and she's got lions. And there are 3 seconds left. Bye.
Hello to the world of the internet audience. It's so great to have you here this afternoon watching our rehearsal. Coast, you said we were in an ad break. That's correct, right? Just checking. We were sitting with some lions at the moment, with the wind blowing through their hair, or through their mans. Oh my goodness, we have a request this afternoon. I promise I'll introduce myself to you just now, but first, Kirsten in Final Control, who's directing, well, she's trying to direct this afternoon. Just jokes. She says I must do an ad for lion shampoo. Shall I do one? Okay, are you ready, Manu? Okay, you're going to start on the lions. Guys, this is improv. Obviously, it's all live, so I'm just going to make it up as we go. Okay, count me in, Manu.
10, 9, 8,
Welcome everybody to Golden Mane. Keep your hair clean, keep it poofy, keep it wonderful. I don't want to do this. I'm not doing an ad. Let's look at the lions. But anyways, everybody, my name is Taylor, and you've heard me mention Manu. Manu's behind the camera this afternoon. We will get serious in a moment because we are practicing for Big Cat Week. Well, this is a Safari Live special. No, Kirst, I was not going to do it. I was actually going to take my hair elastic out and then shake my mane around, but there are people watching in other vehicles, so then I thought, nah, let's just behave and we'll just be normal. Sorry, everybody. Sorry to disappoint you, but I cannot do it. I can do it in the Sabi sound because I really don't mind the other people watching me and laughing at me and the guests, but I just feel so awkward here because sometimes people park right on top of you and then they stare at you. Now, Nikki wants to know what lions these are. So there's also Nikki who's in Final Control. I'm not sure. I would say it's the Paradise Pride because Brent tells me that the Paradise Pride is on either side of the Mara River below Serena. So we've got 3 lionesses and 1 young male currently. Just relaxing. One of them did stand up though and reveal her very large belly. So I don't know what they've eaten or when they've eaten. There's so many lions that come in and out of this area. I can't keep up anymore. But there's the rain. I wonder if that's the same rain that Brent is being hit by. And I did hear earlier that he was zipping up his tent. So maybe that's what's getting him on the other side of the river. but I'm not sure. I need to find, where is my lip ice? Sorry, I'm not digging. I love these breaks. They're so great. I'm going to need them all as well when we do the TV show. Oh no. Kirst and Nikki, I didn't hear any of that. You guys spoke over each other. Please tell me again, because it sounded very important. But it's getting a bit chilly. I'm going to have to put a jacket on soon. And I think we might also get a little bit of rain. Okay. So we might get a little bit wet. We might be doing some zipping of our own. And we've got a minute until we come out of our fake break and then go back into TV, where I will talk funny. I won't talk with my Eastern Cape accent. I'll change it. We always laugh about our presenter voices, which is really interesting. Okay, I'm going to sit quietly now for the next 25 seconds so that I can compose myself. And while you watch these lions pant. "20 seconds is a long time though, isn't it? So I'll just do some whispering so it's not awkward. I wish I had a joke for all of you. Welcome back live on the largest safari vehicle in the entire world. We're sitting in the Masai Mara National Reserve, where we've stumbled across 4 lions sitting on the edge of the Mara River. One of them is a young boy, but we'll have a closer look at him in a little bit. They don't seem to be getting up to too much this afternoon, not just yet. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and it's great to have you all on board this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. Remember, this is a live safari. It is happening right now. So just to reiterate, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you'd like to chat with, well, myself or any of the other safari guides on this very windy day out here in the Mara. Now, these lions, I think, have come out of the thicket. The sun has disappeared behind some clouds, so it's not very hot anymore. But they are panting quite a bit. I don't think it's from the heat. I think it's from those bulging bellies that you can see. I wonder if they maybe caught something a little bit earlier, or perhaps they've just finished off a carcass at some point too. It's very dense around here, and it can be quite tricky to spot these cats. But we'll sit here, and hopefully the cooler weather encourages these cats to get on the move again, because you never know what will happen. Now, Steph is on foot with the largest mammal in the whole, and the largest land mammal down in South Africa.
Isn't it just amazing that with the flick of a switch in less than a second, we shoot you 4 countries away? From Taylor with some lions and approaching storms in the Masai Mara, to myself here in the Kruger National Park in South Africa on foot, and a very hot, sweltering, sweaty day over here. We've been spending the last 15 or 20 minutes with a herd of elephant that are now grazing on some grass in this depression. And the reason why they're grazing on the grass is because it's quite dry at the moment, and the grass is sweetest there. Now, Palin, you'd like to know if elephants have ever snuck up on me. They absolutely have. They can be quite sneaky. Just like us, they have a foot very similar to us. If you can imagine your foot being round, not like an oval, that's an elephant foot. So fatty tissue surrounding a bone, like your toes or like your heel. That is what the elephants have. And so they can walk incredibly quietly. And you do get sometimes when an elephant decides to get a bee in its bonnet, and they will course upwind. Now, we are definitely not upwind of these elephants, and that is why they are super relaxed. But something that is possibly not going to be as relaxed is James.
Now there we have a beautiful shot of a crocodile. I'm very relaxed, almost as relaxed as that crocodile is. Fast asleep it is, basking in the sun. Gorgeous picture. Now, during Big Cat Week, there's a wonderful show called Jaguar versus Croc, and you can find that on Nat Geo Wild. Just check your channel guide for what time it is. And it's a wonderful exposition of the relationship that jaguars in South America have with crocodiles. Now, over here, of course, we don't have jaguars, we have leopards, but they don't tend to interact with crocodiles a great deal. But, however, lions do sometimes, especially up in the Masai Mara, 1,600 miles from where we are sitting now, and they cross the river regularly, do the lions, through the great swathes of crocodiles. And we're often asked, do they ever have a fight? And the answer is yes, sometimes they do. My question to you in the game called Dun 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 Face Off is, who do you think would win, the crocodile or the lion? Hashtag Safari Live, crocodile, or hashtag Safari Live, lion. And you can tell us who you think will win. We'll tally up your votes and then we'll tell you. Now, apparently, Tony, you're wondering about Ronald and whether he likes to see crocodiles up close. He's actually currently looking for some crocodiles now. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to be able to find any, but he has found the mummy hippopotamus. There she is. She's just that sort of grey blob in the surface of the water there with her little baby. We're just going to drive Ronald a little bit along the shoreline here. And she's getting so used to him, you know. The first time we drove Ronald here, she got out of the water and tried to attack him, which is very unkind of her, but now she doesn't seem to worry about him at all. So there he is. He's going to try and develop a relationship with this hippopotamus. While he does that, we are going to send you back towards that fascinating story playing out there on the western side of the Masai Mara, the great Cheetah exposition.
Look at this. The cheetah are starting to fight amongst themselves. So that little spat there was between two of the musketeers. Those two sitting up now. And there we go. D'Artagnan, very noticeable with his collar on. Now the one lying in the back is Muji, or Mugi, depending on how you pronounce it. And he is trying to join the coalition from what we can tell at the moment. Now, this has been going on for 3 days. We've been following these cheetahs since Sunday. Now, remember, this is 100% live in the Masai Mara in Kenya. And Wendy is wondering, don't they need food? Wendy, they do, but they also need to make sure they protect their area from other males, because they want to control all the mating there. Now, this lone male used to have a brother he used to move around with in this very area. He disappeared in January. We're not sure what happened to him. He could have been killed by lions. He could have been killed by a crocodile. You never know. But it looks like this lone male is trying to join the coalition because, of course, as a part of a group of 6, he's got a much better opportunity to survive and thrive in this area. Whereas as a lone male, it's quite difficult for him to find females, hunt easily, and also if there's 6 male cheetah, they're going to be able to hunt much bigger prey. Now, if you want to ask any questions, remember hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is the best way to get hold of us. Now, you will hear other vehicles around us. We are in the National Reserve, so there are other cars out here enjoying the sighting. Oh, there was a little hiss. Look at that. Now, this is so interesting. I'm trying to, because the fighting is between already established coalition members, and it seems like that Mugi or Muji has found a spot, and he's not doing that little chirp, please don't hurt me call that we've been watching him do. And he looks to be a bit older than the other musketeers and a bit bigger. Could we be seeing a new lead member of this coalition? Just listen to those growls. It's going to be fascinating to see what they get up to as this evening unfolds. We will not move a muscle. We'll be right here and we'll keep updating you with what's happening with this incredible interaction. Probably we're some of the few people, or first people to ever see a male try join a coalition at this stage. But of course, in the Masai Mara, we're blessed with lots of cheetah. And Jamie is actually sitting with one of my personal favorites, and she's on the move.
She is indeed followed by her teenage boys. This is Malaika, I think a firm and personal favorite for most of us, just out of sheer respect for her skill as a hunter as well as a mother. Now you will notice there's another car in the background. Obviously there are tourists that have come to witness this amazing moment, but remember, this is completely 100% live, and Malaika is hunting. She's closing the distance step by step in the direction of a herd of impala. The rain is pouring down and she's going to take full advantage of that. Now, this sort of weather is perfect hunting weather for all of the big cats, not just cheetah, because it disorientates their prey. It makes them confused. They can't hear, they can't see. And she is step by step closing the distance. And look at her boys shadowing her, Malaika in front and her young male son just behind her, almost at the point where he's larger than her, and at the point where she is allowing him to take over. Step by step, they're getting closer and closer. Look at this, in the driving rain. We're going to have to reposition ourselves in a moment, not for any other reason other than the rain is now pouring in. I just have to put the rear of the car into its direction. But this is incredible. Just a quick introduction, because I haven't had a chance to yet. My name is Jamie Patterson, and it's pouring with rain in the Masai Mara. The cheetah are hunting. It's all happening here. I have to move. We're getting soaked. I'm going to reverse back into the position that we need to be. She's getting close to them. There are other cars in the sight.
Now, of course, we're coming to you live out of the African bush, and with all that rain around Jamie, the signal's bound to bounce up and down, so just excuse us for that. It'll come back as soon as the big cloud is over. But it's not like you're coming to something that's bad. We're still on foot with this elephant. It's been a good half an hour to 35 minutes now. And Jamie's got her signal back, so off you go. See you just now. Okay, you're not going anywhere. Big storm, big interference there. So, alright, we'll get on top of it. Don't worry, Mother Nature blows over it pretty quick, and you'll go back to Malaika hunting. Right now, we got these elephant, and they are absolutely. Now, Shelley, you'd like to know if adult calves or adult females or adult bulls are more dangerous? Ooh, good question, Shelley. I think they're equally as dangerous, but I think that the bulls are a lot more patient with people than what the females are. So, as equally as deadly, but I think that the females are quicker to anger because of their babies that they're trying to protect. This one's going to come down and have a mud bath. You know, we know more than 50 yards from these animals at the moment. They don't even know we're here. It is a fantastic thing to be able to do. Well, obviously quite difficult to explain the feelings, but I'm at once anxious and excited. I've got a lot of adrenaline coursing through my body. I'm constantly checking wind direction. Alright, what we're going to try and do now is send you 1,600 miles north, see if that big cloud has passed by, and you're off to Jamie with Malaika.
We are back in the Masai Mara. We've had a chance to cover ourselves up a little bit, but Malaika's not worried about a bit of rain. She's got a dinner on her mind. Remember, 100% live, hashtag Safari Live is how you can get hold of us. Look at these two boys following in the footsteps of their mother, learning all about the process, water streaming off their bodies, step by step. A perfect imitation of what Mum needs them to be able to do In just a few short weeks, it'll be time for her to sever the bond with them and them with her, and they will become independent. But before they get to that point, she still has to provide for them. The impala herd is now tucked away to where we can't quite see them. I'm trying to see through the rain. Matt, you say this is some serious rain. Tell me about it, Matt. We're soaked. But that's okay, so are the cheetah. And it is perfect weather for this sort of thing. They must have just gone over that rise. I can't see the impala anymore, but she can. You can see it in the way that she's stalking forward. Look at her boy behind her. Even though he is so much larger than her now, he's got so much learning to do. They're moving in almost complete unison. Look at that. Almost. Every step is cautious. She doesn't want to waste this opportunity. She's only got so much energy to spare. And if she fails, she's going to be exhausted. She's going to not be able to hunt again for an hour or so if she doesn't get this right. Midnight Blue has sent through a comment saying that the cheetah are going to need scuba gear if it continues to rain like this. I have to tell you something, we might need scuba gear to get back home across the river. It was already over the hood of our car when we drove in this afternoon. It's going to be interesting to see how we get back, but that's not a problem for now. This is such perfect hunting weather. Where's boy number 2 gone? He's lagging behind a little bit. There's one in every family. The keen sibling and the slightly less keen sibling, who I think is just a little bit upset that he's getting as drenched as he is. Looking back longingly in the direction of the sheltered bushes where they could stay nice and dry. You can see that the wind is blowing the rain almost horizontal. Now imagine being an antelope that relies on its sense of smell and its sense of hearing. Now imagine this kind of weather. Rain blowing into your face. You can't hear properly, you can't see properly. In a land of big cats, it must be terrifying. Like is peeking over the top. A little bit of patience here is essential. I can't see the cheetah anymore. I'm not sure if she can. I think she must be able to. Even the first young male seems to have lost patience with this whole thing. Now, what we've seen in the last few weeks watching Malika hunt is that she generally leaves it to the boys. She sets it up, she catches something, and then she leaves it to the boys to then practice their hunting skills. Now, it's a difficult thing to watch, but it is a crucial lesson in the life of a young male cheetah. And you can just imagine mothers of teenage boys out there, you know what it's like trying to keep them well fed with such voracious appetites. Now imagine being a single mother cheetah, where a survival rate in some cases for cheetah is extraordinary. Stay tuned, we're taking a short break, and this is Safari Live. Okay, as we go into our imaginary ad break, Malika's inching forward. I would like to inch forward. Oh, there the impala. There they are. They've come back out. Off to the left of her there, Jahali. Can you actually see them, or is the rain cover going to get in your way? Oh, there we go. There we are. That's what we're after. Or at least what she's after. So they've just come out of the dip. That's where they were hiding. So they haven't seen her. But she is so close now, and the rain is letting up. I can't believe they haven't spotted her. Sharp-eyed impala. She's right out in the open. It just goes to show what a disorienting effect the rain has on the prey species. closer and closer. Now she's frozen. Now she can't move. Because if she does, she's going to spook them. Okay, let's travel back across to Djuma, where Steph is being just as stealthy as Malika as he approaches his Ellies on foot.
How awesome is it watching a cheetah hunt live? Isn't it just the most fantastic thing? Now these Ellies have slowly moved away from the dam and are taking a cool drink from a fresher source of water at the top there. Elephant, where possible, will drink from fresh sources of water, even digging for it themselves in riverbeds and in stream beds. At the moment, that's a pan that is pumped by Djuma. This fantastic reserve that we're part of. And these Ellies just had a quick snack and then are moving off. Now with the wind direction in our favour like this, what it might be possible for us to do is follow these elephants for a little bit more. But I think what we're going to have to do is use the cover that we have and get into a slightly different position. While we get into it, I'm going to try and get into a different position. We're going to send you back over to those cheetah and their hunt. See you just now holding thumbs for Malika.
We're back with the amazing Malika, and as I said, she's closing the distance between herself and the impala. Now just off to the left we can finally see the antelope that she's after. Standing out in the open, there she is. And the impala are just over there. So what we're going to try and do is, bear with us, we're just going to move now while we can. We're very far away from where she is, so we're not going to in any way disturb the hunt that she's involved in. Okay. Should be... Okay. Should be okay. Should be okay, should be okay. Okay, sorry Shelley, I was just about signal, rain's still pouring in. Now Shelley's wondering how she would go about severing the bond with her young males, and the answer is actually, I suppose that was not the best way, that was not the best positioning either. That's not the best way of phrasing things, because a lot of it is instinctive, but when it does come time, female cheetahs will go back into estrus, and whether or not they respond hormonally or aggressively in any way towards their youngsters, the males that then come in to mate with them will, and that will force out the young males around her. Where is she? She's there, she's just to the right of the car. There we go, there she is. I think the impala are onto her. Oh, panic. Oh, look, 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 there she goes, there she goes. There she goes now. She's just about to pass beyond where we can see. Hold on. There they go, there they go. Here come the impala in our direction. The guinea fowl frantic. I think she might have... 1, 2... The guinea fowl are going absolutely crazy, and I think that she's missed them. No, hold on, she hasn't. I think she's caught one. Hold on. I'm not sure what our signal's going to be like. Hold on, everyone. I think she's got one. And you are back live on a very big cat week between us.
Well, we've just heard some really exciting news that just down the road from us, not too far away, the missing musketeer is on his way and calling. So we're not sure how long it's going to take for that cheetah to get you, but that could change this dynamic completely. Will he be as accepting of this new member or new possible member, or will it pull the tipping edge over and they go into a massive brawl? Now remember, this is live. We cannot predict what's going to happen next. And this Big Cat Week is definitely producing some of the most spectacular sightings live from the African bush across 2 countries, thousands of miles apart. Now there is the new man, the new boy. Now he's got a very distinct mark on his left leg, which you can't really see while he's sitting down, which is how I identify him. He's got a little line, and then it's got a little heart. So for those of you wondering how you identify different cheetah, you normally have to look at their individual spots. So it can be quite difficult. Unfortunately, we spend so much time with these animals that we are able to often identify them. Now, as I say, this is incredibly interesting behavior that's happening here, and if that other male does arrive, he's probably a kilometer away, because we've heard a report that he's calling and calling. So when he gets into distance that they can hear, maybe they'll start responding, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see what happens next. Now, even though these guys have never seen what an Inyala looks like, an Inyala certainly knows what a cheetah looks like and tries to avoid them.
Right, we're sitting here with a beautiful Nyala, which you don't find up in the Masai Mara, of course, but a magnificent opportunity for us to come into what I call Hosanna's haunt, to look for the little male leopard, soon to celebrate his 2nd birthday on the 3rd of February next year. And I think it's pretty clear from the fact that this male Nyala is around that, unfortunately, Hosanna is not. Unless this Nyala is about to receive a very, very nasty surprise, he is not in this magnificent little glade of tambuti trees, beautiful reeds, and lovely pools of cooling water on a hot afternoon. Anyway, it's a very pleasant place for us to be, so we're going to sit here a little bit longer. I'll just show you as the Nyala disappears off. Just in here, I'm just wondering if there are still there. There are a whole lot of little dwarf mongoose. They're knocking about in there. And can't see any of them. Anyway, we're going to move away from here now, because what we have been seeking, Tristan has found. You are going to see a leopard.
You are indeed. Well, not that you can see much of our leopard, because he's hidden behind lots of green, thick grass at the moment. And you can see why he's in that thick, green, shady grass is because it is hot. And so his breathing rate is very quick as he tries to pant and cool his body down. At the end of the day, when he's panting like this, the reason he's doing that is he's trying to use water vapor being taken off of the tongue, and that cooling process then happens and cools the blood down and sends that cooler blood back into the body. So that's what he's busy trying to do. He's also trying to get out of the way of flies and various other insects that are around, and you'll see him every now and then biting into the air and trying to just swat away flies with his 4 limbs. Now, Palin, you wondering... Oh, I've forgotten now. Sorry, Palin. I was busy just checking at an insect that just landed on me by mistake. And sorry, there was an insect that just landed on me by mistake, and I thought it might bite me. Sorry about that. But Balin, yes, they do get thorns in their feet from time to time. You'll see they'll walk along and a thorn will go in, and then you'll find that they'll pull that thorn out, and you'll find a situation where they'll lick and try and use their teeth, and eventually they get it off, and then they'll walk normally again. It's actually quite amazing how efficient they are at surgically removing thorns when moving around. Now, our leopard is still sleepy. He's still swatting flies. I'm hoping he's going to get up. It's starting to get cooler, but let's go across to Noelle and see what she's managed to get up to and whether her lions have started to stir more than our leopard.
Tristan, I found something that Tingana would love to eat, and possibly our Styx pride, because there's only one adult female with those youngsters. Those youngsters are not old enough to hunt. This is the ever-present impala. It is one of many of our antelope species. For any of you that are there in the States, it looks very similar to a white-tailed deer. So they did have a common ancestor probably just over 2 million years ago. And they have some very close similarities other than being prey species. species. So if you have a look at the back legs of the impala, there's two little black dots that are just there on the hind back legs. That's called a metatarsal gland. The only other species that have that are deer species, so impala being the only antelope species. Now, the reason why this species would be a favorite for Tingana or for Tandi or for any of our other leopards is the size. It is a medium-sized antelope, and so it's going to be a nice meal for several days. And then the reason why I say that that female from the Styx pride might want it is twofold. One is she needs to keep her belly full to keep the youngsters full, but also if she catches one of these, it's going to give the youngsters a chance to have some meat while she looks for something larger or catches up with the rest of her pride. Well, now while I'm busy waiting to see what happens here at the waterhole, let's head back to Steph, who's found something while he's roaming around on his own 2 feet.
We're still with the same Ellies, and we've been with them now for a good 45 minutes to an hour, and they still don't know that we're here. It's just such a fantastic thing. And youngster there in the background is Djuma's Vuyatela Lodge, and wouldn't it just be a privilege to be staying there and having these elephants right outside your doorstep, bro? These elephants are still busy just feeding. They've moved from grass onto branches, and we're now in a perfect wind position. The wind is blowing very strongly from them to us. Just stay in the open. Alright, we're quickly going to be going over to Jamie. She's got Malika again and some signal.
Look at this! Oh my goodness! It's buffalo have just come in. Malika's killed an impala. That's the impala carcass over there. And the buffalo are chasing the cheetah. I thought for 1 second that the cheetah was still trying to protect her carcass. I actually thought the buffalo had caught her. The buffalo are dashing backwards and forwards. The cheetah reluctant to lose their kill. This is all happening completely 100% live. What a spectacular insight into animal behavior. I got such a fright. I thought the buffalo had got the cheetah. I only saw 2 of them run away. So Malika's just caught this impala moments ago. And unfortunately, the storm played havoc with our system, so we didn't quite see it. But she was busy feeding with her 2 boys. She took full advantage of that rain. She managed to catch something. And now the buffalo have come in and chased her away. There they go. They're still chasing the young boys. There, to the left, there we go. Running around. Where's the other cheetah? I can only see 2. This is crazy. There we go. There's the cheetah, retreating. Thoroughly unimpressed. There's number 3 in a thorn tree. Why are you in a thorn tree? That doesn't look very comfortable at all. Well, I suppose I would be too if a buffalo chased me. They really do earn their reputation as some of the most cantankerous creatures in the African wilderness. And it's not just the cheetah they chase. Still in the air.
Well, we're still sitting here with the boys. We can't see where the 5th male is coming in from, but the cheetah researcher said it'll be coming in from the west somewhere, and at the moment everything's placid. Now, apologies about what happened there, and there are big storms all around us at the moment, and sometimes they do cause us a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are coming to you 100% live. There we go. There's the edge of one of those big storms, and I know Jamie's not too far from one of those. Now, you will hear other vehicles and possibly see other vehicles every now and then. We are in the National Reserve, but remember, this is 100% live, and we are witnessing some incredibly interesting behavior that is almost never seen, and it's amazing that we're able to share this with you 100% live. Hopefully the missing member of the coalition arrives soon, and when that happens, we'll be right back. In the meantime, Noel has got a very beautiful bird to show you.
Everyone, I'm so excited. Another one to add for your 2017 list. It's a gray hooded kingfisher. I'm so excited. We don't get to see them very often. I have a friend that's been guiding for 25 years and he still hasn't seen one. So, Ant, this one's for you. I'm going to take photos and send them to you later. But yeah, notice the gray head. And, sorry, not gray hooded, gray headed kingfisher. Excuse me, I'm losing my mind in my excitement. And notice how the beak is orange on top and orange on the bottom. So it's interesting, while we're waiting for lions or leopard or cheetah to move, if they happen to be flat, like my lions and Tristan's leopard and Brent's cheetah, birding is always a fantastic thing to do. Now, this particular type of kingfisher is very similar to our woodlands in the fact that this one doesn't eat fish, it eats insects. So he's out, it's still warm, so there's a lot of flying insects around, so he's finding little shady spots and waiting for prey to come his way. Now, notice he has that beautiful azure blue, but it's more cobalt than azure compared to the woodland, and a lot darker on the back there. I'm just getting enough for you all to have a nice long look, and then I will show you with the book. I just don't want it to fly away because it's not something that we see all the time. Now, in other parts of Africa, this is called a rufous-bellied woodpecker, kingfisher. You see, I'm so excited that I'm mispronouncing everything. And that long beak that you can see there allows it to very quickly catch any sort of prey that it needs, whether it be insects like this one or like the pied kingfisher you saw with James earlier, catching fish out of the water. Now that we've had such a beautiful look at it, let's just do our comparison quickly. I've got my little book out. All right. So here we have the woodland kingfisher on top. Notice how blue it is with little bits of dark. Red beak, dark beak, and then as you saw with the gray-headed, sorry, not hooded, gray-headed, gray, and then dark, and then blue, and then red, and then rufous on the belly. Now, while I'm so excited about this bird sighting we had, let's go back to Steph that has something much larger that's just as exciting that he would like to show you.
We're now quite close to this young bull. It's a teenager. And it's like all teenagers, what they do is they hang around behind the herd or in front of the herd. They don't really want to be associated with mom. Now, elephants' eyesight is face down and to the front of their feet, and so I can quite easily stand up here and they won't even see me. You can see how just being careful, because he will still hear. Now, in the background there, that's Djuma Lodge, Djuma Foyatella Lodge, one of the camps that are in this area, and a fantastic place to stay, as I said a little bit earlier. Now, we can quite safely follow this elephant because, A, he's a youngster, and although that doesn't make him any less dangerous than, you know, a, let's say, 5,000-pound Rottweiler with two massive teeth in front of it. Now, they tend to be a little bit less confident. But even that, he doesn't even know we really are out of sight here. Now, Tristan's sitting with Tingana. I wonder how he's doing.
Well, Steph, he's having a wonderful time sitting in the shade, and I must be honest, I'm quite envious of him because we've been sitting in a slight patch of sun, and luckily there's a bit of cloud that's come to save us, but it is quite warm in the sun, and so he is really taking it perfectly easy. You can see there's a few flies still around, tail is flicking, legs are moving, and every now and then he'll lash out with his mouth and try and bite at those flies. Of course, he's far too slow to actually get anywhere near them, and so he really struggles to be able to get to them and to be able to do anything, but at least he tries. And he tries to kind of ward them off. And the reason why they're congregating is they're trying to go to his nose and around the edges of his mouth. And the the thing about it is that those flies are looking for moisture, so they're trying to get moisture that is congregating around there. With him panting, his mouth is open a little bit, and there will be a bit of saliva that will come out, and so those flies are sequestering the moisture from that saliva itself, and that's how why they're so attracted to him. It must be highly irritating to have flies going inside your nose, inside your mouth, and in your ears, and the ears for a cat are incredibly sensitive. So there you go. You see he's trying to bite them at the moment. There we go. He's always too slow, though. Unfortunately, he's a big, bulky individual in comparison to a fly, and so he's normally too late. But that motion at least pushes them away for a little bit and gives him some sort of respite when it's really kind of getting a bit too much. So he's patient for a while, and then eventually he does it, and you'll find the tail will flick, the back legs move, his front legs swat away at it, and then that head comes up as he tries to bite at those flies and get rid of them. Now, the nice thing is, if there's a little bit of cloud cover coming in, I reckon we're going to see, hopefully, this male starting to move. There's not too far from us is a waterhole, which often has game animals, and so while we do that, let's go all the way back to the Masai Mara, over 1,000 miles, to my friend Brent, who's got the other spotted cats that seem to still be in a massive face-off.
Well, it's all heating up here again. The fifth male hasn't arrived, but all of a sudden are moving closer to the unknown male. Mugi is now starting to make those little defensive chirps again. Now, the slightest thing could set this off. Remember, this is 100% live from the Masai Mara in Kenya. You can see he's got a big scratch on his nose from the battles that have been going on for the past few days. This is just incredible behavior. Cheetah survive without water while they're stuck there. Well, Carrie, I was actually watching them after the little rainstorm we had earlier, just lick the water off their fur. However, they don't need water every day. If it is available, they will drink, but from the amount of rain, there are lots of puddles all around. But I think the one who's had the least to drink, oh, here we go, I'm going to try a different avenue. Bleeding. Ow. Those little chirps. Isn't this amazing? Linda wants to know, how will we know if he was able to join? Well, Linda, every single day we are out in the Mara. Just search for Safari Live on your search engine, and you'll be able to follow this story well along and beyond what happens today. As I say, the whole dynamic could change with the arrival of the fifth. Ooh. One looked like he was trying to sneak a little. So the one that's moving around the most is the one who seems most keen on not letting Mugi. Oh, everyone's going at it now. So in these situations, there's a lot of confusion, and sometimes the coalition members attack each other as well. That sound is just incredible. Guys, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? Oh. There's so many different dynamics at play here. It's so difficult to know what's gonna happen. I want to see what you guys think. Hashtag Safari Live. what do you think is going to be the outcome just for today? As I said, there's so much cheetah politics going on at the moment. 100% live coming to you from the Masai Mara. And it's by no means over. There's still one musketeer missing. Is that going to change what happens? What is going to happen? We don't know. But we're going to be right here to bring it to you live as it unfolds. 100% live from the Masai Mara. But now we're going to send you away quickly. But you're going to have to come back just after this to see what happens next. This is Safari Live. Isn't this exciting? Oh, here we go. I'm just going to keep quiet so you can hear the sounds of the cheetah. Seems to be a little bit of a downswing in the growling, but everyone's still on high alert. That's amazing. As it's got cooler, they're becoming more active. Could it be that they are now getting so hungry that they want the scenario to end so they can move on? D'Artagnan. Now he seems to attack the other members of the coalition rather than the interloper. There we go. A bit of sneaking in again. He's lying down. Look at camera narcos. Sorry, just look like they're about to go. How is my sync? 1 2 1 2. How is my sync? How is my sync? Welcome back, everyone. It is still a standoff with a bit of growling and snarling and churring and chirping. Now, I asked you a little bit earlier. Oh, listen to that. Who do you think, what do you think's going to happen? And Mafuta says he thinks they're not going to accept the newcomer. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm gonna have to give you my answer a little bit later when I've watched a bit more of the dynamics. Now remember, this is 100% live, and if you want to put a question through or an answer to one of my comments, remember, use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter to get hold of us. And it has been an incredible Big Cat Week show so far. I mean, lions, leopard, cheetah, and some incredible behavior with Jamie and Malika and those buffalo. We've got this ongoing battle of wills happening between 4 of the musketeers and Mugi. And it's just amazing that this is happening 100% live right this very second. We're bringing you Africa live to your living room. And as I said, the 5th male, he could be on his way in here at any moment. The report we had is he was calling and looking for the other members of his coalition, and how that's going to change dynamic on how they deal with this extra boy is anyone's guess into what's going to happen. He is a good-looking cheetah. I think he's a bit older than the musketeers. I'd say we know he's 3. He was born in 2014. Now, we know exactly when Mugi was born, but we don't know when the musketeers were born. And another spotted cat we don't know exactly when he was born is the glorious, massive male leopard Tingana.
Indeed, Brent, we are not 100% sure when he was born, but we roughly estimate him to be somewhere between 11 and 12 years old. And I'm pretty sure if Tingana was somewhere anywhere near those cheetahs, he would be in the thick of it, because Tingana does like a little scrap from time to time. So those cheetahs can be thankful that they're all the way in the Masai Mara and not down here. My name is Tristan Dix, and we are in Big Cat Week, and there's no better way to be in Big Cat Week than to be live with a male leopard. Our male leopard at the moment is really very, very tired, though. He's still having a really good nap. He's squeezed himself into the only little bit of shade that is in this area. You can see the sun is kind of glistening on the leaves all around, and so he's found himself this massive marula tree that has trunk is just going on to where he's sleeping. So he's found himself the perfect part to sleep, and once that reduces and starts to go away and the sun gets a little lower, hopefully that's going to start to get him up and awake and moving. I was alluding to the fact earlier that there is a waterhole not too far away, and on a hot afternoon like this, I would imagine a number of prey items might be going down to drink, and that might be where he heads in order to get a afternoon snack. At the end of the day, hot weather like this, and the fact that he's been moving around and scent marking this morning would mean that he's probably worked up a bit of an appetite, and maybe that's going to mean that he's going to take us on a late afternoon hunt. It's the reason why we're being patient with him, and why we're waiting and hoping that he will do just that. Now, while Tingana sits and is completely relaxed, it seems as though my friend James is far more bouncy and sounds like he's messing about in the wilderness of South Africa.
Well, I'm not feeling very bouncy at the moment, and that's because when you bounce around in the vicinity that I am, well, it's likely to get stung. I am around an olivaceous scorpion that has unfortunately escaped underneath this log. Now, while I consider its whereabouts, most of you thought that lions would win the face-off between lions and crocodiles. In South Africa, or in Africa in general, I would have to agree with you. I think lions generally do come out on top. It's interesting, though, that there is a cat, the jaguar, of course, that likes to eat crocodiles in South America. I've never seen it happen here. And interestingly, we have watched those male lions crossing the Mara River through the crocodiles, seemingly unaffected. But who knows, sometimes they may get taken, and certainly we've heard of cheetah being taken by crocodiles as they cross the river. So definitely perilous for them to go into the water. I'm just sticking my head underneath here As I remind you, of course, that we are in the midst of Big Cat Week, Nat Geo Wild's wonderful initiative to showcase the 8 big cats of the world. We, of course, have had all 3 of them today that occur in Africa: the lion, the leopard, and the cheetah. Now, I found a grasshopper out here, but in order to get the camera around here, I'm going to have to manhandle her Fergus to show you. While I do that, Noelle has got a pig that is happy in the mud.
I do have a pig that's happy in the mud, and we are live. We are interactive. Don't forget, you can send us through questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, this would be a perfect little warthog for something like Tingana. I know Tristan was talking about if he starts moving, he might go towards water. This warthog has thought the same thing, and he has found himself a lovely little spa day to have, rolling in the mud, to cool himself down. Now, I was thinking to myself when we got here, also when we were at the other water hole, how silly those Styx lions, the Styx pride of lions are, sleeping where they're sleeping because they're nowhere near water and there's nothing for them to eat there. So if they were sleeping in the shade near here, this poor pig might not be having such a glorious spa day. But I guess this is a good thing for him, that's for sure. We had some kudu come down earlier as well for a little drink. The hippo was not too happy about that. We have a male hippo who's just showing his head a little bit now in his annoyance and anger at us for being here. He's taken up residency inside of Treehouse Dam a couple of weeks ago. I am Noelle van Moden for any of you who might just be joining us, and when I am finished here, I'm going to head back towards our Styx lions. They are sleepy in the hot sun. We're just giving them some time, and I'm just scouting the area to see what might be around that might get them moving. So while I am busy trying to get my lions to do something fantastical for you on live TV, let's head up to Taylor, all the way northeast in the Masai Mara.
There was an absolute torrential downpour just a moment ago. We're now very, very wet, just like these cats are. But I'm impressed that the rain didn't bother them. And now, hopefully, in the last hour of golden light, they'll be able to dry off a little bit. But I think they're going to have to do a bit of grooming, which is exactly what they're doing at the moment. That should help get their coats nice and dry. Now, for me, unfortunately, I have no idea how I'm going to keep dry this afternoon. The leaks in the roof, I'm covered, and I can't really shake my body as well as a lion could to try and get off that excess water, so I shall dry myself off a little bit later. But it has cooled down quite nicely now, and there's a variety of animals moving around in the distance, from zebra to buffalo to impala, all moving away from the water's edge. And hopefully, if we're very, very lucky and we're very patient, we might see a hunt. Even though those lions have got a belly on them this afternoon, that won't stop them because they're already thinking about their next meal. And that's the most important thing for big cats, is to constantly have food, because without food they'll have no energy to hunt. So even if it is just a small snack and not something like a big buffalo, that will do them well as well this evening. But she's a beautiful girl, though. You can see she's grooming herself now. And their tongues are quite interesting, too. Now, a great question from Gus this afternoon, and that is, do lions ever get nervous when they don't feel each other while they're sleeping? Well, that's a fantastic question. I would never have thought of that, Gus. No, I don't think so, even though they are very, very social cats. They're the most social out of all the cats in Africa. They will often head rub to greet. If they were to get up now, you might find that lioness will walk over to the rest of the pride and nudge heads. They also allo groom one another, so what that means is that they'll actually groom each other and help each other out, which is quite nice. And that's very important for social animals. It helps strengthen the bond. And if you want to be a good hunter, you need to know your teammates inside out. And that will, of course, help with successful hunts, knowing what the other one is thinking without having to make even a sound. But it's looking quite good, and I'm hoping, with all the grooming that's going on and the twitching, that they will get up and get on the move. Maybe walking towards the African sunset, which would be absolutely beautiful. And speaking about an African sunset, it seems as though Jamie, who's just on the other side of the Mara River, is looking at exactly that.
We are indeed, and although we're not looking at lions in the sunset and we are looking at a herd of zebra, it is still absolutely stunning. So just something to show you the beauty of the land in which the big cats roam. You can see why this is such a perfect lion, leopard and cheetah territory. Food for cats of all different sizes, from the tiny little Tommies to the zebras behind. A spectacular scene here in the Masai Mara of Kenya, and having been in both Kenya and South Africa, I think it's safe to say that the only place that can match the sunsets of South Africa are the sunsets in Kenya. We have left our female cheetah to her meal. We're going to go and see what else we can find as the sun begins to set. The lions are going to start waking up, and I've heard reports that there are lions somewhere just up ahead of us. We're going to head in that direction to see whether or not we can find them now as they're stretching and warming up for the night ahead. Now don't forget, this is a live safari. We've already had so much excitement, from the leopards to the cheetahs and the lions, of course. So join us and let us head all the way across to South Africa, where Steph has moved on from the bigger things to having a look at some of the smaller industrious things.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair to just speak about the one thing and not the other in this particular sense. And we were watching you've been watching cheetah busy munching on Thompson's gazelle. We've been watching elephant munching on grass. And of course, what happens to all the dung that comes out the other side? Well, the truth of it all is that between all the decomposers and these little guys, they take care of all of it. Excuse me, the dehydration today is making my brain all fuzzy. It is incredibly hot here where we are, and the odd word slip will happen. But here we've got a big dung pile. We've got the dung balls being rolled now away from the elephants we were just with. This particular dung pile probably was dropped by those elephants that we were at. We've been backtracking them. And look at how ginormous this ball is. About 50 times the weight of the actual dung beetle, and they are just patting it nice and tight. Now that's the female. This is the male. He's been doing all the work now. She will pat down the dung ball tight. They will then bury it, and she'll lay an egg on it. And she might even stick around for a few days. He will fly off and go and find another dung pile. That there is enough dung to feed their baby until it becomes an adult and comes out of the ground the size. And just have a look at what a beauty he is. Look at that for a size comparison between my thumb and him. And this is wet dung. I mean, it's just incredible the weight that they can push. And that is weighty. That's about as heavy as a softball is. Like I said, 50 times his weight. I mean, what do I weigh? I weigh, let's call it 150 pounds. Even if you round it off to 100 pounds for an average small person, imagine pushing 50 times your weight in leg press. Isn't that incredible? So they're getting ready to bury the dung. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably having a bit of a rest. I'd have a breather pushing around this ball. I don't even know where the dung is that he came from. Let's see how far it is. Where did he come from? I would imagine that he didn't push it uphill. He would have pushed it downhill somewhere. Definitely isn't here. Now, what won't stick around for too long is that fish eagle that James is with. So I'll look for this dung in the meantime.
There is a beautiful fish eagle, everybody. Its relevance to Big Cat Week, of course, is that it is a catfish eater. Anyway, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous bird of the skies and the waters, and it will be scanning this surface of this pond, very large water body, for catfish. That's actually definitely what it eats. We've seen them eating catfish. There are two of them here. This one is gobsmacked with amazement. You can see that by how open its mouth is. Quite what it's amazed at, I'm not really sure. I am, of course, talking rubbish. It's not gobsmacked with amazement. It's just very hot. It continues to get hotter and hotter. And while I sit here at Chitwa Dam, I am just astounded that no elephant has come down to drink here. It is beastly hot still, at least 34 degrees centigrade, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, in the blinding sun. Hosanna the leopard hasn't bothered to come down either, which is very distressing to us. Anyway, we're going to sit here for the rest of the show and see what pitches up. What are they called again? Fish eagle. The fish eagle's friend is over there. You can see. Can you see that, Fergus? Very far away. Oh, well done. You've got him there. That's very clever of you. And they're a couple, and you can tell which is which from the amount of white that there is when they turn around. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the male's whiteness extends further down the belly than does the female's. Righty, we're going to leave these catfish-eating fish eagles on Big Cat Week and hand you 1,600 kilometres, no miles, up to the Masai Mara with Taylor.
So we've had the lions in the golden light, and look at the troublemakers that are on their way, moving through the long grass, straight in the direction of the 4 lions that we've been sitting with for most of the afternoon. Now, this is quite exciting as the sun starts to disappear behind the escarpment. This is when the nighttime critters start to wake up, and as well as the lions. And those hyenas seem to be quite excited. You can see their tails are raised, their noses are working hard, picking up all the different scents. Now, for those of you who have just jumped on board, remember we are live and I'm sitting in the Masai Mara National Reserve. And you can ask me as many questions as you like. All you have to do, because we don't have much time left, is hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and you can ask me any question that your heart desires. Now, what I'm really hoping for is that these hyenas come over to these lions. They've still got a little bit of a way to go, but they can be pesky creatures and a huge annoyance to the lions. And there are no big male lions here too, which they're pretty scared of. There's just the girls and the young boy. So I reckon these hyenas might show their very cheeky nature and chase these lions around a little bit. Even just come over to investigate to see if there are any scraps left from whatever those lions ate a little bit earlier. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the different colors, the beautiful silhouetted Balanites trees. It is incredible. We are so fortunate to be here live, sitting with all this wonderful nature. And those hyenas have completely disappeared in the grass. You might find that they have a den nearby, and they've just been resting up there for most of the day. Now, there's a common wives' tale that unfortunately a lot of people believe, and that is that hyenas don't hunt, that hyenas are purely scavengers, and that they steal kills from lions. That's not necessarily true. Hyenas are incredible hunters. You won't believe how well they adapt to their surroundings, and they live in really, really big family groups here. We call them clans. Now, even though there's just 2 here, they could have come from a big clan and decided to go a separate route in search of food, and if they do find something, they might call the others. Now, Senak, as we wait for these hyenas to appear from the grass, you're wondering whether I think there might be a fight between these 2 hyena and the pride lions that we have just on the opposite side. That's a tricky one. I think they could. I have a feeling, because there's no big males, like I said, that they could come around and investigate. Though hyenas are not stupid creatures, they're one of the most intelligent animals out here, and they know not to get too close to a lion. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble. And a lion could quite easily kill a hyena. And those could be female hyenas. They could have cubs back at the den too. So they need to make sure that they watch their backs. But they will. Even though they are cheeky and come around and hassle lions and leopards in particular too. And even cheetah. Often chasing cheetah off of their freshly caught kills and gobbling them all up. Lions put up a bit more of a fight, so it could get quite interesting this afternoon. There's even a bit of thunder rumbling in the distance, so perhaps there's going to be another downpour that falls upon Mara. What a gorgeous evening. This is absolutely incredible. Now, we're not sure what could happen between these hyenas and lions, but don't go too far. I'm going to send you off for a short break. This is Safari Live. Oh, regular viewers. It's so happy. It's so happy to have you here. That's how great my English is today. Even those hyenas prick their ears up and I'm like, what on earth is Taylor talking about now? Aye, aye, aye. Very cool. I think these hyenas have actually spotted the lion, so this could be quite fun. Curse, what did you just say to me? I'm so sorry. I'm just fascinated by these hyenas trotting towards us. Okay, apparently I'm going to send you across to Noelle because her sighting is better than mine. Of course, we're just joking, but we'll see you in a little bit.
So we have a little bit of movement with our with our stick pride here. I was just thinking about a sighting that I had a little while ago with the Nkuhumas where their juveniles were busy eating a tortoise on a warm afternoon. Our juveniles are just trying to find a better shady spot, unfortunately. The mum's lifted her head up just a little bit. She has been rolling onto her back every now and then and opening up her back legs to try and get some airflow into the main arteries that are there. And you'll notice with a lot of with all lions pretty much, it's very, very white under the belly. That's to help reflect away that sunlight. And then when they're lying, like you can see now, they are cooling themselves off as much as possible. Now, because these juveniles are young, they will start moving before the adults. It's similar to having small children. When it's nap time, they never want to nap. When it's bedtime, they never want to go to bed. And when you're really trying to sleep, they're always up and moving. That's pretty much what happens. Now, one of the reasons why I chose to come back now is that we're going to start seeing movement of animals either towards water holes or away from water holes. And the path line that the lions are on at the moment is indicating, I should say, that this is an area where there is some animal movement through. Now, that would mean if anything starts to come past, that we might get a bit of activity. Now, some of these youngsters are old enough to start not hunting themselves, but learning how to hunt. And what you'll see a lot this time of year is mum catching baby impala or warthog even, some of the larger warthogs, and keeping it alive so that the little ones can practice their pouncing skills. All of the skills that they learn now are skills that they're going to use as adults, and so they need to work all of those muscles. Now, the one that's moved over towards the grass that side probably has a tummy that's not feeling very well. He's busy eating some grass and trying to make himself feel a bit better. I had a dog at home that if I didn't feed him the food that he liked the most, used to do the same thing. So good wildlife are large cats and dogs that will do similar things to your domesticated cats and dogs at home. Mum's starting to just roll around a little bit. We'll see her just now. There she goes. Slowly, slowly, slowly waking up. We can see the size difference a little bit better now between her and the youngsters. The wind has also switched direction. The wind is now coming from our back. So if anything is walking towards them from behind me, she might start smelling it. Also, their hearing is incredibly good. There we go. All right, now while we're waiting for these little miniature diesel engines to really get going, let's head all the way up to Kenya, 1,600 miles away, to Brent with a beautiful sunset.
Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? It is a magnificent evening here in the Masai Mara. And you can hear some of the sounds being made by the cheetah. As it gets darker, last night, sort of just at the end, there was definitely a lot more of a fracas. And now we are the last people in the Mara as that last car departs. Well, apart from Jamie and Taylor, of course. It's such amazing interaction, and I say we're only really going to know what happens when that fifth male comes out. The sun is disappearing very quickly. Let's have one last look. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Welcome back live to the Masai Mara. We are watching that gorgeous sky while seeing what happens next with this coalition of cheetah. Now, I still haven't seen where the fifth male is. He was quite far away from our last sort of update, probably a good 2 kilometers or so, but heading in this direction. Now, cheetah can cover distance quite quickly, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and if it upends the apple cart, so to speak, of the cheetah politics that seem to be calming down slightly at the moment. It is incredible that we are able to bring this to you 100% live. I mean, this is almost never seen. I mean, most cheetah researchers would be excited to see this, and I'm just really happy we get to share it all with you. I'm going to pick up my binos and have a quick look across the hills over there, see if I can spot the fifth male on his way. While I do that, it sounds like good old Jamesy is playing with all his toys.
I'm playing with toys to a certain extent. What I'm looking at is homes here. Those homes that you're looking at there are for the red-billed buffalo weaver. And it reminds me, of course, of the homemaking skills of the cats, which are pretty poor, really. Their youngsters in various parts grow up in the open, exposed to the elements. But, of course, Tundi, 11-year-old wonderful leopardess, has managed to create a lovely cave for her youngster, and hopefully it will be out soon and showing itself to us. Now, what we have here, those are red-billed buffalo weavers. We've got some village or spotted-backed weavers here, and they are just so gorgeous, and they are a quintessential reminder of the summer season. They turn that beautiful yellow colour. They're very dull during most of the winter time, and now they're this glorious golden colour. And they're building their little nests with very good homes for their babies, their wives, and of course, well, the parasitic cuckoos that go there. Okay, let's head across to Stefan Winterboer. I believe as the sun is sinking, he may have found the pug mark of a cat.
This is not just the pug mark of any cat, it is the pug mark of a great cat, of a big cat, and not just any big cat, but Tundi. This is a track of a female leopard, and we're lucky enough to know that it's Tundi. She's the only female leopard of this size in this particular area, and so although it doesn't have her name stamped in it, or at least not to my eyes, there's any distinguishing characteristic, this is her front foot. And I know just from the size, that's an adult female's front foot. This is her front foot here, nice and square. And this is her back foot, nice and oval. And I'm going to show you how square a leopard's front foot track actually is. So you take a piece of grass and you put it in the track. Let me just take a longer piece of grass or a stick. Actually, you take it in the track. You measure it from the top of the toe right down to the bottom. There you go. And from the side, have a look at that. Exactly square. Same size, top to bottom. That is the front track of a full-grown female leopard. You're off to Taylor, who's up in the Mara with some hyena at the moment.
Look at that most magnificent scene. We've got some more hyena. The others that you saw with us while we were live just a little while ago have disappeared. They've run off into the thicket. They didn't hassle the hyenas. However, these two seem to be a little bit more on the curious side. Now, they're just disappearing behind the car. But what I do want to very quickly show you is look at the massive, massive storm that's brewing in the distance. Look at the clouds. It is pouring down on the Olololo escarpment. I'm very happy to not be sitting up there with any animals. I'm glad we're sitting live down next to the Mara River. Isn't that incredible? For those of you who have again just arrived, welcome. It's very exciting to have you all aboard the largest safari vehicle in the world. We haven't got much time left of the show, so remember to get those questions in hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, I do very quickly just want to reposition. I just want to change the view. You can see there is another car over here. They're on safari too. We are in the Masai Mara National Reserve, and very, very excited to have so many people out here on safari too, which is very cool. But they have to head home now. No one else is allowed out after dark, which is quite cool. There the lions are just laying flat, and unfortunately for us, there's not going to be too much excitement here, because I think the hyenas are petrified of the lions this evening. Even though they're just laying here quietly in the grass, it's still enough to deter those pesky hyenas. Well, the sun is starting to set here. It's getting very, very dark, and it should start to set soon in the Sabi sand. So off you go onto Noelle's car, and I wonder what she's got.
We have movements with the Styx, which is lovely. The mum/auntie got up and made a little bit of contact calling, an oof, oof sound. And now we've got a bit of movement from the youngsters sort of coming up just to her right-hand side. There they are. And they're slowly but surely moving in this afternoon heat. Now, one of the reasons, again, why they're moving so early is because it's just her as the adult, and then she has what looks like two different litters with her, two different sets of cubs, some of which are hers, as we said, and some of which are her sisters who are not currently here. And one of her sisters also has much smaller cubs. So she has a lot of mouths to take care of at the moment. And when she stood up, I don't think she's had a decent meal, I would say, in maybe about 5 days. So I do think that there's going to be some possible hunting tonight. Now, whether that happens right now or happens in a half hour, we'll have to wait and see. Plays a role in dominance behavior, so allo grooming is grooming each other. Monique, the allo grooming specifically with lions, from behind me, we do have the dominance behavior that you'll see with lions is mounting of each other. So females will do it and males will do it, and the more dominant one will mount the submissive one and perform a sort of mock mating scenario, and that's how they do a lot of the dominance. With hyenas, like what Taylor has up in the Masai Mara, you'll see that part of it's not really allo grooming, but they do that leg lift and they sniff around the genitals. That has a bit to do with hierarchy with those females in that matriarchal society, that's for sure. Good question, Dominique. Thank you. All right, while we're waiting for these beautiful little cubs to get up and start moving again, let's head back over to Tristan, who is one of Africa's large rosetted cats that I love so much, the leopard.
Well, we are still with our leopard, and we are waiting just as patiently as Noelle is for it to start getting up and moving. Tingana at this stage is still very sleepy. You can see he's sprawled out and stretched out. We've changed our position slightly in the hope that he was going to move a little bit and maybe just decide to start standing up, and we're getting that light just behind him. But unfortunately, he is still in a situation where he is very sleepy. So he's taking it easy, a few flies every now and then, and we've actually been watching. It's been quite nice to watch his ears, because you can see the flies landing on the tips of his ears every now and then, and you can actually see why he flicks his ear at times. Hopefully there will be one that will land there at some point shortly. You can see them just buzzing around every now and then, and the problem is those little hairs that are just on the edge of his ear are very sensitive, and so as that fly lands, so that ear flicks, and they then chase them off, and it's because it just irritates his ear. And as you can imagine, it's like somebody sticking their finger in your ear. So, Christy, you're wondering what temperature would be most comfortable for a leopard. Well, I suppose there's no real right answer for that, because I've seen leopards moving and hunting in 120 Fahrenheit or 120 degree heat. I've seen them moving in very cold temperatures. So they're opportunistic animals. They'll take any chance they can. But generally we find that leopards like to move around when it's a little bit grey, a little bit overcast, and when it's not too hot. So I would say anywhere between sort of 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit Fahrenheit, that would be about the sort of temperature that leopards like to operate in, although, like I say, they can operate in any way whatsoever. That's the best thing about leopards, and why I love spending so much time with them, is that you just never know what they're going to do. They don't read books, they don't follow any rules, and each individual has its own way about them and their own character, and that's why it's such fun to follow them, because you learn so many different things by spending time amongst them. There you can see a beautiful shot of his paw. Now, Tingana is lying here resting very nicely, but I believe Taylor has a little carnivore that really does like to irritate the big cats like Tingana.
You won't believe what we've just stumbled across live in the Masai Mara National Reserve. 2 black-backed jackals. Now, they're really cool little creatures. Don't let their size underestimate you, though. They're incredible hunters, and they are one of the bravest animals out there. And the reason why they're so brave is because I cannot tell you how many times I have watched black-backed jackal walking after lions, trying to get little scraps from their carcasses that they're feeding on. Sometimes they're even brave enough, when the lions are so fixated on tearing through their carcass, to sneak on in and grab little chunks here and there. But they're just disappearing behind the car now. Let me quickly reposition and see what they're going to get up to and where they're going. How cool is that? I love seeing these little animals. They're amazing. Now, they're also one of the nocturnal critters. They come out just after the sun is set, and they're most active also early morning. There they go. Let me angle the car like this. And they don't mind the lights too much, but they have to be very, very careful out here, because they are small and they could easily fall victim if they get too close to something like a leopard or a lion. A cheetah wouldn't mind them too much. They'd just get a bit annoyed by them and try and chase them about. Very, very cool. I wonder if they're heading, though, towards those lions. I think those lions seem to be in a pathway of many, many different scavengers this evening. Now, there's another storm on its way. We might have to buckle down the hatches and zip down the tent to keep nice and dry. Brent is on the other side of the river. Hopefully he's had a break from the rain. He's still with his cheetah.
Indeed we are, and not much movement. You can see one of those storms that Taylor's talking about in the background, and fortunately for us, it's a long way away and dumping down on a different section of the Mara, leaving us high and dry with the cheetah. Now, again, the 5th one hasn't arrived. There's some low growling happening, but nothing too hectic at the moment. You can just hear those growls. Remember, this is live from the Masai Mara in Kenya. And as it gets dark, we can start hearing hyenas calling. Hi, Lily is 6 years old. Lily would like to know, what would happen if he would run? Lily, I don't know. That's what's so amazing. I'm waiting to see. I've never seen behavior like this before. I think they would chase him, but I can't be certain. They're starting to get very hungry, so they might let him go just because they're so hungry. They want to go look for something else to eat. Now, as I say, we're going to wait it out here, see if anything changes. But all the way 1,600 miles back in South Africa, James is pretending he can fly.
There I'm flying. You can see me pretending to fly. And the light is now just perfect over here. Gold as a leopard's coat it is on Big Cat Week here at Chitwa Water Hole. Lots of hippos making their evening calls. Still waiting for the elephants to come down, or little Hosanna to appear. Not so little anymore. He's quite a solid fellow. But look at those hippopotamus just enjoying a perfect summer's evening here in South Africa. Of course, the evening slightly later there in the Masai Mara. And Drone Commander Sebastien Rombi of the French Gabonese Air Force, now flitting across the surface of the water while I sit up here on the marula tree, which a leopard might climb should a leopard come along here. In fact, I've seen Hosanna do that very thing. Now, from, I'm not going to use that link, from sitting on a tree where I am, relaxing, enjoying the sunset, let's go across to Steph, who is about to eat something disgusting.
Eat something disgusting, I don't think so. But show you something pretty cool, yes. Now, the whole day today we've been talking about big cats, and we've even watched a big cat hunt, or Malika and her boys hunting. But you know, we don't often see what they do with the bones. Now, Hyena, which we saw a little bit earlier, are able to shatter these bones, and just have a look at how thick the walls are to these bones. Inside there is bone marrow, and one of the very few sources of fat inside a game animal. There's not a lot of fat around. Fat is very good for you, it's very nutritious, and that's why hyenas have developed those massive jaws to crunch through these bones, and why big male lions can also sometimes get through bones like this. So generally speaking, this is just the realm of the hyena to break through, and that is what is happened right now. And talking about lions, why don't we go and see those lions that Noel is with at the moment?
We have this young lion that's still over in his little grass patch, and he's busy chewing on that grass to make his sore tummy feel better. We've had a couple more of the juveniles move over to the adult. There's a little bit of grooming that happened just now, so everybody is slowly but surely waking up, and I want to say moving, but they're not actually moving right this minute, unfortunately. So again, remember, we are sharing this sighting with some other vehicles, so please excuse any of the background noise in there. Now, again, we briefly mentioned it earlier with the Styx Pride of Lions. Not everybody is here, but there is a good portion of them. And the adult female that is here was busy making her contact calling noises. Now, I was talking to one of the other guides just now, and they said that the other two females are a little bit farther south from here. So it's possible that this female wants to get moving, but doesn't want to move too far from her sisters. That being said, you will see prides break up and move apart and then come back together often, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, while we're waiting again for a little bit more movement, let's head back over to Tristan and see what Tingana's up to.
Well, he's stirred from his slumber and is starting to slowly but surely wake up with big yawns, and look at the teeth and the tongue on that. Isn't that amazing? Not every day that you're able to stare down the gullet of a big cat on a live safari, so it has been absolutely wonderful to see that he's now starting to wake up, and I think it's that time of the day where he's maybe going to think about moving. It's started to cool down nicely now, the wind is settling, the sun is at a low angle, and maybe, just maybe, those yawns are going to indicate that he is going to get up and start moving and going forward. He keeps looking over towards our sort of northern side at the moment, as though there is something around, but he can't quite make up his mind just yet as to where. Well, do you hear that? So it's almost like he wants to start vocalizing. Now, what would trigger that, I'm not quite sure, is normally when they make a sound like that, it is to mark their territory or a situation where he's seen another leopard. So I'm just looking around to see if there is another leopard here. Now, Sinak, you're wondering if leopards are the most adaptable of the big cats. Most certainly. They can live in all kinds of different places. They can be in mountains, in riverine vegetation, savannas, down even by coastlines. So they really can occupy any space, and they feed on a multitude of different prey items, probably more so than any of the other cats. So more than the cheetah that Brent and Jamie have shown you, and the lions that Noel has seen. So they are a specialized animal, and they are able to kind of thrive in any area whatsoever. Now, I was hoping he was going to vocalize for us and make a bit of noise and to be able to make a little bit of a sound. But unfortunately, it seems as though he's going to keep quiet, and he's not going to be doing too much this afternoon. He kind of is looking in that direction, and I wonder if maybe somebody else is not lurking somewhere close by. Now, while he stares off into the distance, it's unfortunately that time where we're going to unfortunately head off and finish our live safari from South Africa. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. Remember, you can catch us twice daily on wildsafarilive.com, and remember to stay tuned to Nat Geo Wild for the remainder of Big Cat Week, and in particular the Savage Kingdom finale that is coming up in the next day. But from all of us, it's been an absolute pleasure. We look forward to catching you on a safari in the future.